Girls, what was the most obvious hint you dropped and the guy just didn't get it?
Silent scan.
When my boyfriend and I had just started dating, we were laying down watching a movie, but this was a small bed and he was being respectful and giving me space. I kept wiggling backwards so I could get closer to him, and he kept inching backwards too, since he thought I was just trying to get comfortable and he was in the way. He ended up sitting in a chair next to the bed. 3 years later we are still together and I still think it's pretty funny. He told me that when he was in the chair he purposefully left his hand next to me in case I wanted to hold it, but I guess I missed that sign too. He didn't get out of the bed because he was uncomfortable. He truly thought he was taking up too much space and didn't realize I was trying to cuddle.
Silent scan.
So answering in lieu of my late wife here, I, husband, am dumb. Like, really dumb. She and I met and became friends very quickly, but I didn't know she apparently had a huge crush on me. I thought she was out of my league, and apparently she thought I was out of her league too, but she couldn't stop the feels. She rubbed her feet on me while we were talking, asked me in detail about my package, gave me her phone number with the line, "Hit me up if you want pizza and sex." We went out for lunch. She offered to fill at me for a Dr. Pepper, and she was very insistent that we got meat lovers pizza when I asked her what she wanted for watching a movie later. After we watched the movie, she was in my bed. I figured she was just wanting to keep warm and cuddle, but she strutted into my bathroom stark naked, and I had some DD staring at me. She kissed me and told me, "I want you to fuck me, you idiot." A regular romance story there. In my defense, she had a really warped sense of humor, and I thought she was kidding with all that stuff. It felt so natural with us being friends that the thought didn't even cross my mind until she propositioned me that there was potential for more. I'd had some really fucked up exes, and I thought romance was something where I had to jump through hoops for the other person and wait on them hand on foot, but she was different. That's why she was the one who I got on one knee for. Advice to the ladies out there: if my wife telling me "I want you to fuck me" got through my legendarily thick skull, I think as a last resort that'll get through to anybody.
Silent scan.
I asked a guy on a festival to come take a shower with me. He didn't get it. He just repeated there was only one free shower, and I was like, "Well, they are big, I'm sure it's fine," and he just looked confused and told me I could go first. We became close friends since that happened about 2 years ago, and this summer I spoke to him about it, and he really had no idea. He did the biggest facepalm I've ever seen.
Silent scan.
I'm the guy in this situation, but I couldn't help not sharing this story. In college, this girl I was really into asked if I wanted to hang out at my dorm and drink and watch Netflix. She came over, and we were watching and drinking on the couch in the living room, per my suggestion. Things are going good, and about an hour into it she says, "Ooh, let me see your room," so we go to my room. She takes her shoes and socks off and immediately sprawls herself out on my bed and says, "Oh my god, your bed is so comfortable." I responded with, "We live in the same building, it's the same bed as yours." She left about 10 minutes later.
Silent scan.
I'm not as brutally upfront as some of these people, but mine happened yesterday. How do I know a girl is flirting with me? He asks. She touches you a lot while you two are talking. I cannot relate at all. That never happens to me. I'm sure it does. I tell him and hit his arm. I can't think of any time that's ever happened. See, this is a rough one, because I had this one girl I'd talk to all the time, and she'd sit next to me in class. I had a huge crush on her, and she'd be overly touchy all the time. She'd occasionally even rest her head on my shoulder / sleep on it during class when she was tired. Just stare into my eyes for prolonged periods of time and hug me. When I told her I had a crush on her, she shut me down completely and told me she only saw me as a friend.
Silent scan.
On our first date, my current boyfriend and I went out to dinner, to a bar, and eventually back to his house to watch scary movies. After hanging out for almost 8 hours at that point, practically cuddling into him the entire time we were watching movies, dropping as many hints as I could. Around 3 AM, when we were both fighting to stay awake, I finally had to look his dumbass in the eye and ask, "So are you going to kiss me or not?" Though he was totally oblivious, it did show his good heart. He was about to let me fall asleep on his couch and spend the night without even trying to kiss me. I knew he was a keeper after that.
Silent scan.
I had a girl invite me round her house once, just to show me her posters. They were all of Harley Davidson motorbikes, and she said she's never ridden a Harley before. Awkward silence, and after a few other bits of small talk I decided to be on my way. 2 years later I'm sitting on the bus and realize what she meant. Holly. Ridden the Holly. My name is Holly.
Silent scan.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to get even more awesome content. Come on, it just takes 1 second.
Silent scan.
Literally said, "I want to be yours," and the dude just keeps smiling and goes on about random space facts. That one hurt a bit. What was the coolest space fact?
Silent scan.
We were discussing costumes, and I sent a picture of me in my bunny suit and said I'd need help out of it. His response was telling me he hoped my roommate was home, or that would suck. I had to tell him I was implying I'd like him to take it off me, and it took him a minute to catch up. Edit. For those of you concerned, it was very much a suggestive picture. I'm not sure it could have been perceived as just friendly, and no, you won't be getting proof of said picture for those in my DMs, lol. I was very much ready to hit him with the bat of bluntness, because we get along great, and he'd seemed flirty with me before. Jessica, that makes no sense. How can I help you when I'm clear across town?
Silent scan.
I once was modeling clothes I planned to take on vacation for my boyfriend. After showing off a couple of outfits, I told him to close his eyes and changed into lingerie. He opened his eyes and I asked him what he thought. His jaw dropped and he said, "You can't wear that outside." I put my clothes back on.
Silent scan.
My buddy in college was stressing over when to make the move to kiss a girl he liked. While we encouraged him to not wait for the perfect moment and just go for it, he admitted he should have tried to kiss her when they were in the shower.
Silent scan.
I'm sure if Emily, from 15 years ago, saw this thread, she'd say, "Invited this guy to my place after our date. Got him into my room, into my bed. He was just lying there, so I told him my back was feeling sore and asked him if he could give me a massage. His reply, 'Oh, I don't want to crush you with my weight.' He was about 170 pounds. Gave up and went to sleep. Truth is, I did get the hint. But at the time I was a virgin, and I was convinced I had an STD. Yeah, good combo. Turns out I didn't have an standard.
Silent scan.
This was some years ago. I was 22, had been talking to this guy for a while, and was ready to lose my virginity. I was a college student living at home, but my mom and stepdad were on vacation celebrating their anniversary, and I figured this would be the perfect time to make my move. He and I already had a date scheduled, so before we went, I cleaned my room and the entire house from top to bottom, created a chill playlist on my computer to listen to, shaved/waxed every necessary inch of my body from the forehead down, put on sexy underwear, and waited for him to pick me up. We went out to the movies, and when he dropped me off at home, I invited him in, with the added context, and in a leading, flirty tone of voice, that we would be all alone, and had all the time in the world, to do whatever he wanted. He said, "That's alright, I'm sure you want to enjoy this time you get without your parents to be alone." He was sure, and he was wrong. I just stared at him for like 10 solid seconds in silence before I nodded, said yeah that's true, and got out of the car. The walk from my driveway to the front door was the real walk of shame, and I hadn't even gotten any good sex out of it. After that, I sat in my very clean house in my sexy underwear, eating pizza and wondering how that could have gone differently. It was my first time trying to seduce a guy into sex, and it failed miserably. I laughed about it though, and I still laugh about it now. I just figured it wasn't in the cards for me yet. Ended up losing my virginity a few more years later to the guy I'm currently engaged to, so it worked out wonderfully. He's pretty good at picking up what I'm throwing down. Lol.
Silent scan.
Usually guys don't simply miss the hint, they are often too nervous and either let it slip by their subconscious, or notice it, and don't know what to do with it, so let it go. You really have to be direct if you want a response. Edit, usually, but not always. Yes, many hints certainly do go unnoticed. There is fear on both sides. Fear of coming on too strong and being rejected, and being too vague as a result. And then fear of misinterpreting hints, and ignoring them as a result. If only we ignored our fear 10% more, how many millions of good times around the world would occur as a result?
Silent scan.
All I can think of is a joke. An engineering major meets his friends at the college cafeteria, riding his new bike. His friends admire the bike, ask him where he got it. The engineering major says, "Remember that cheerleader I was tutoring in math? She rode her bike over to my apartment today, brought it in, and leaned it against the wall. She took off her clothes and threw them on the floor. She laid on the bed and told me that she got an A in math, and to thank me, I could take whatever I wanted." The friends look at him admiringly and say, "Good choice in taking the bicycle. Her clothes would have never fit you."
Silent scan.
As a guy, to any girls reading this, you have no idea how easy it is to miss hints. Please be more obvious. We are also really bad at being scared of taking signals wrong.
Silent scan.
Congratulations, you reached the end of this awesome video. Now, like and subscribe, like we talked earlier, come on.
Silent scan.